So this is the last section seen in Unit 4, and there's actually not a whole lot here. They'd like us to talk about some informal runtime comparison. If you took another comp sci course, you might talk a lot about operating times or O values, big O values, and that's something that's kind of left off the AP syllabus, so we don't get too concerned about it. But we do talk a little bit about like the total number of iterations seen in loops, and this can get a little tricky sometimes with nested iterations. So I've got a couple different examples for us to look at here. We're talking about statement execution count. So just if you can kind of remember a few things from here, you can sort of figure anything out. We could also put some if statements in here too and sort of change the number of occurrences, but this is just going to teach you the basics really. So this first one here, I've got it set up, example 1, what will be the final value of count? Let's try to figure it out before we run it. So this outside loop is going to execute 83 minus 27. So what is that, 56 iterations. Okay. And this inside loop is going to run 123 minus 45. So that's like 78 iterations. And then that means that you have 56 iterations of 78. Okay. So 56 different times, we're going to increment the count variable 78 times. So 56 times of 78, 56 78s. And so I'm not that good at math. Let's see, 56 times 78. This says 4368. Okay. So I'm expecting to see 4,368 as like the final value of that count variable. All right, let's put it to the test. All right, let's see what happens. All right, 4,368. So yep, that was correct. Okay. So again, the outside loop ran 56 times. The inside loop ran 78 times. Each iteration of the outside loop caused 78 iterations of the inside loop. And we did that 56 times. So 56 78s. All right. All right. What will be the final value of count 2? Okay. All right, so I've set this loop up to count backwards, but that doesn't really matter, okay? So this should just be a real similar performance. 87 minus 23, that's a total of 64 iterations. Now, if I had done something a little weird here, like, what if I had put like less than 23? Then technically this would have been originally false and we would have gotten 0 iterations. So that would have been a pretty easy problem to answer. Like it never would have run once, but I didn't do that here. Okay. So this did run 64 iterations, and this one here, okay, 77 counting down to 24 by ones. That's going to be a total of 53 iterations. Okay. And so again, this is going to run 64 iterations of 53 iterations. And so that's going to be a total of, I don't know, let's ask 64 times 53, 3392. All right, let's find out. All right. Now, like I was saying, what if I had done something weird? Like what if this outside loop had said less than? Then this loop would have never run. Like, and so 87 is not less than 23. It wouldn't have taken 64 iterations to make it less. This would have run 0 times. So now we would have gotten an answer of 0. Like the count value would have just, still been 0. Like we never would have incremented it once. So, just be careful, like make sure it's actually doing what you think it's going to do. And then if you noticed, I had all exclusive boundaries. And so I wasn't considering anything inclusive, kind of like we saw, if you think back to Unit 1, when we learned about the math.random method. If it's inclusive, you have that +1. So this is 66 minus 35 plus the 1 for being inclusive gives me 32. Okay, so 32 outside iterations. This is 84 minus 27 plus the 1. And that because of that inclusive nature again. So we've got 57 plus the 158 iterations. So I'm predicting that this is going to be 32 times 58. And let's see what that is. So if we had 32 times 58, looking for 1856. Okay. And so obviously, if we had forgotten those plus ones, we would have gotten the wrong answer. We would have done 31 times 57, but it would have been a smaller number. Okay. And that's because of the inclusive nature. So you've got to include the 66, right? Where before we were excluding those values, if you look how I had written these. All right. And there's some other variations of this, try out the CS Awesome CVC there. If you have any questions, let me know.